Hello, and welcome back to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we will be reading Exodus chapter 20. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blesseth the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed, and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. And the Lord said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Ye shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone, for if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. Summarizing Exodus chapter 20. At the end of chapter 19, God tells Moses and Aaron to come up to the mountain and not to bring anyone else. God gives Moses 10 commandments from verse 3 to verse 17. The Israelites saw thundering, lightning, and smoke. They also heard a trumpet. They moved back, away from the mountain, and they told Moses that they'll talk to him, but not God, so they won't die. Moses tells them to fear not. God wants to test them, and so that his fear will keep them from sinning. God instructs Moses to relay specific information to the Israelites. Don't make gods of silver and gold. Only use earth or naturally occurring rocks to make altars for burnt and peace offerings. And don't go upstairs to an altar so that nakedness is not exposed. Some highlights for Exodus chapter 20. Reviewing the 10 commandments from verse 3 to 17. The first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods. The second commandment, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in water beneath the earth. The King James Version uses the phrase graven image, but the New Living Translation and other English versions uses the term idol. An idol is an object of extreme devotion. An object can be defined as a goal, a something material that may be observed by the senses, or something mental or physical that thought, feeling, or action is directed. An object of extreme devotion, an idol is defined as a symbol of worship, a likeness of something, a false god, a false conception. Conception means idea or belief, a pretender, an impostor. An idol also means an appearance visible but without substance. When we look at the King James Version, the phrase graven image, the term together means an object of worship usually carved from wood or stone. But we understand image as a visual representation produced on photographic material. An image is also a picture produced on an electronic display, such as a television or a computer screen. And then when we look up the term graven, graven means death. Graven means important, likely to produce great harm or danger, significantly serious, to carve or cut, or to dig. So the commandment is saying that no serious image, so a serious image could be defined as a reputation. No reputation, no belief, no creation should hold more value than God. By definition, idols and graven images refer to earthly entities. So now the rest of the verse will address other types of entities. So thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in water beneath the earth. So in heaven above, when we look at heaven above, this is referring to the sky. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in Genesis chapter 1, verse 8, the firmament was heaven. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, lights were placed in the firmament to divide the day from night. And then in verse 20, fowl fly, or birds fowl fly in the open firmament of heaven. So when we see firmament, when we see heaven, this is talking about the sky. So none of the creatures in the sky, because by definition, idol and graven image are covering all earthly entities. So now we're addressing the sky. That is an earth beneath. So the New Living Translation says on the earth, but the King James Version says in the earth beneath. Don't create images in the earth beneath. And I thought that was interesting because when you think about it, we don't know what creatures other than some animals that live beneath the earth look like. This could be a reference to demons, but up until this point, we don't know where demons live, what they look like. So this could be saying don't have the intention of creating images or gods from the earth beneath or in the water beneath. The water beneath, that's, the last part of this commandment, and that's straightforward enough, but just wanting to point out the rest of where that comes from, and that we don't know what demons look like and if this is even referring to demons because, well, at this point we don't know where demons live, or, already said that. The next part of that paragraph is don't bow down to them or serve them. I am a jealous God, bringing the punishment from the fathers onto their children, on the third and fourth generations of those that hate him. The term jealous means hostile to a rival, believed to enjoy an advantage, intolerant of rivalry or unfaithfulness, disposed to suspect rivalry or unfaithfulness, or vigilant in guarding a possession. Again, God is not human. He is the creator. That is why it's not contradictory for God to hold a different set of rules than his creation. Humans can't do what God does. And jealousy, those emotions like that, they weren't created for humans. So, but it also says here at the end of that paragraph that even though he will punish the third and fourth generations, that he will also show love and mercy to those that love him and keep his commandments. So, reviewing the commandments so far: 1, thou shalt have no other gods before me. 2, thou shalt not make any graven image. 3, thou shalt not bow themselves to them or serve them. 4, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. The Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Vain means to have no real value, to be idle, or to be worthless. The Christian Standard Bible says, don't misuse the name of the Lord, that God will not leave the person unpunished that misuses God's name. Don't use his name like it has no value. Remember the Sabbath. Keep it holy. That's the 5th commandment. And it says in verse 9, do all your work in the 6 days. Verse 10, no one should be working, not the self, daughter, son, servant, or stranger in the land. And a side note for this: work rarely glorifies God. It usually glorifies the self or improves some human condition or aspiration. And God asks us to stop this for one day out the week on the 7th day. God used the 7th day to rest. We are created in his image, and he asks us to do as he did. So the 5th commandment, honor the mother and father so you'll live a long life. 6th commandment, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. The 9th commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness against the neighbor. And this means thou shalt not lie. But when we look up the term false, intentionally untrue, not genuine, or adjusted to deceive. Witness means a public affirmation or a testimony confirming a fact or event. And the last commandment, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's house, wife, servant, cattle, or anything. Neighbor is defined as fellow man or a person living adjacent or nearby. And covet means to wish for earnestly, severely desire, to inordinately desire. Verse 19, when the Israelites heard thundering and trumpet, they stood back and told Moses that they didn't want to talk to God in case that they die, lest we die. And God didn't say that they couldn't talk to him. They just said, don't come up the mountain, don't touch the mountain, don't come up the mountain, or you might die. Verse 20, Moses told them to fear not, that God wanted to test them. And then it says that his fear, God's fear, may be above your faces and you sin not. So fear is defined an unpleasant emotion caused by anticipation, awareness of danger, uh, anxious solitude, reason for alarm, or reverential awe. But again, God is not human. So for him to have his fear and us to witness his fear, very different. Verse 21, Moses drew into the thick darkness of an element that is naturally occurring on earth. Darkness is normally associated with evil, and darkness was a naturally occurring default setting of earth. So in Genesis 1 verse 2, that was one of the only things on earth was darkness, water, and emptiness. So God had to make a creation to modify a naturally occurrent substance on earth, which was darkness. Verse 18, God used the elements of earth, now including darkness, but he used thunder, lightning, cloud, trumpet, voice. These are all earthly elements that God uses to manifest himself. Instead of manifesting himself as a concise, tangible body that we can understand, or an entity that we can just look at, he's able to manifest himself in this other type of way. And then in verse 23, at the end, God tells Moses specifically to tell the Israelites, don't make gods of silver and gold, only use earth or naturally occurring rocks for your altars, and don't use stairs for altars. That was Exodus chapter 20. I look forward to doing Exodus chapter 21. I look forward to reading and summarizing Exodus chapter 21. Thank you for watching up until this point, and see you on the next upload.